television guy, then we can get rid of him.
Do you have the application ready yet, or is that something you still have to develop?
No, we have an application. When they want one, we will send it to them. We've been working on one, yes.
And are you anticipating them filing? I wouldn't do that if I were you.
We already got it on desk. So what will the process be now, given what you have come up with in this draft, that if Penn National is the one that wants to put a track in Youngstown?
Well, you have to understand that the bite at the apple is for all 7 racetracks if they want to change locations. And you'll find within the rule what the criteria is to change those: economic benefit, horse racing, those types of things. It's all set forth in the rules. But what you have to understand about the rules is that the rules that we adopt today are emergency rules, which pushes the ball down the field a little further. And at the same time, in the next day or so, we'll be filing Chapter 119 rules, which will be the permanent rules, and folks will have an opportunity to comment on those rules at a public hearing. We're preliminary scheduled for November the 21st. And once we get an application, we'll start looking at the criteria that we have in the rules. We'll determine the Racing Commission, as the rules were adopted today, has the ability to determine what the fee will be to move or permit.
So that still has to be worked out, whatever fee for any of these tracks to be moved.
Correct. So between now and October 17th of 2013, they have the ability to move with approval of the Racing Commission.
Do you have any idea when you're going to see your first application?
You'd have to ask the tracks that question. I don't know. I would assume they want to get moving.
What do you envision? There's a threshold for a $5 million temporary facility in here. What is that going to look? Is that like a tent or a prefab building, or what do you envision that being?
Well, it's the governor's intent. It's our intent. If folks decide to build a temporary facility, that it would be a nice facility. The $5 million, if you look at the rule, does not include the cost of the video lottery terminals. Video lottery terminals, I'm told, can cost up to $20,000 a piece. If you put 1,000 of them in, you can do the arithmetic. You're way past $5 million. So a $5 million facility wouldn't be a pole barn or a tent with a latrine out in the back. So, but you have to determine. It's a business decision. The tracks that want to move their permit to another location is going to have to make whether they do what they call an express build, where they would work 7 days a week or whatever to move along, and maybe they won't have a temporary facility. But if there is a temporary facility, there are provisions in the statute and in these rules to accommodate that.
What kind of time frame? If I was a casino, I came in a couple of weeks with an application.
It's not a casino.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Racetrack. If a racetrack comes with an application to relocate next week, what kind of time frame are we looking at? We're looking at 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Before the commission makes a determination, I would say, first of all, I don't think nobody would come in next week. Things don't move along very quickly when you're talking about these types of numbers. I don't know, 6 months. We will do it expeditiously. But there's also another airplane circling around out there now that you all are aware that there's a press conference tomorrow that some folks that are not interested in what we're doing are talk about some type of lawsuit or whatever. So that all factors into it too.
Are you comfortable moving ahead with the whatever job you have to do under these rules if there is this lawsuit hanging over your head, or would you?
Well, if there's a lawsuit, everything comes to a halt. My understanding.
Is there any progress on? I believe it was the horsemen and track owners were supposed to negotiate splitting up the pot of money that will come from these.
It's my understanding that those conversations are continuing. But as you know, on the governor's executive, his MOU that he had with the tracks and other folks, nothing could happen unless there was an agreement. And if there weren't an agreement, that the state would determine what those splits would be.
Can you talk about, you know, there's this Mahoning Valley Development Group that's talking about trying to get a track license. They've been talking about lawsuits.
That's the group that's threatening the lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's a group that's threatening the lawsuit. The Ohio Roundtable's the one that's threatening the lawsuit. Yeah,
they're threatening the lawsuit.
Yeah, there'll be lots of lawsuits. To my knowledge, I have had no conversations with anybody in that group seeking a de novo license for a permit for a racetrack. All I know is what I read in the Youngstown Vindicator.
Have there been any discussions with any entities concerning transferring licenses or creating something new in the Mahoning Valley? We've heard from Penn National that they're interested, but have they actually made the step of contacting you folks?
No. No, there has been general discussion from a number of folks with potential locations, but as to a specific location in the Mahoning Valley, all I know is what I read in the paper.
And Mahoning Valley Downs is not one of those people that you've communicated with.
I'm not aware of who Mahoning Downs is. That is not an entity. They are not. They aren't one of the 7 permit holders right now. And it's the governor's intent, if you read the MOU that came out several months ago, that I don't think he wants to have any expanded gaming for about 10 years. So I can't speak for those folks. I don't know any. I wouldn't know if they walked in the room.
And just to clarify, the rules today just deal with relocations. They're not dealing with new tracks. Is that right?
Well, it does. The relocation is a new track.
But a relocation of an existing track, as opposed to someone opening a.
No, there is nothing in these rules that deal with a de novo track with a new application.
Okay.
For a new track.